did Advance Parole, and lawyer fees can range from $3,000 to $10,000. DACA website. I'm going to share my cover letter first. Now we're getting to the juicy stuff. The first thing you want to put on your application. Hello, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. If this is your first time here, my name's Brenda. I'm a DACA recipient, and I pretty much share my whole journey on being on DACA, doing advance parole for the first time last year in 2024. And now I've started my adjustment of status application, aka my green card application. I am married to a US citizen, and I also have a legal entry because I did advance parole, and that makes me eligible to do adjustment of status, meaning applying for a green card here in the US versus doing consular processing, which takes a long time, it's more money, and it's a lot more risky. I have been sharing my whole process on TikTok, Instagram, so I haven't done a long form video like this in quite a while. But I have had a couple people request these type of videos so I can go more in detail on exactly what I did for my adjustment of status packet. I'm going to go over it just how I did it with my advanced parole application. I shared exactly what I did in order to apply on my own for advanced parole. And now with adjustment of status, I did the exact same thing. I applied on my own, so I did not use a lawyer, and I saved myself $150. Actually, I saved myself thousands of dollars. Lawyer fees can range from like $3,000 to $10,000 for adjustment of status of what I've seen in quotes I've gotten over the phone or emails or things like that. So I was like, no, I'm going to try to do this on my own. I do want to say though, if you have a complex case, so if you have a criminal record or maybe some type of deportation orders that you've had in the past, I highly recommend that you go with a lawyer or with an attorney. Now, if you have a simple case, pretty straightforward, you can definitely do this all on your own. It is very time consuming. You're going to have to do a lot of research, but you can do it. Believe me, you can do it. I'm going to try to make this a whole series on adjustment of status. It is marriage based, so if you are adjusting through your US citizen child who's over 21 years old, there might be things that might apply to you, it might not. So just keep an eye on that. All right, so the first thing I am going to go ahead and share is the cover letter I used. And then I'm going to share exactly how I assembled my packet and mailed it in. So you can get an idea on how to organize your cover letter and organize your packet overall. A cover letter is not mandatory, it's optional, but I highly recommend it. So let's go ahead and start with the cover letter. And this is where I'm actually going to share my screen. So it just makes it a lot easier to kind of go over. So let's go ahead and do that. Right, like I mentioned, I'm going to share my cover letter first and then how I assembled my whole adjustment of status application so you can get an idea on how to do it on your own or organize it on your own. At the very top, you're going to see who this is for. So this is for USCIS. You want to make sure you input the correct address that you're going to be sending this form to, and you will find this on the USCIS.gov website, and you can easily search for the lockbox filing location. This is based on the state that you live in and also the mail service that you will be using. So if you go to the USCIS.gov website, search for the lockbox filing locations. For family-based forms, you're going to find the location to send and mail all your forms to. It does go by the state that you live in. So if you live in Texas and you're going to send it via USPS, then this is the address that you're going to send it to. If you send it via FedEx, UPS, or DHL, then you're going to use this address here. In my case, I'm in California, so I'm right here, California. I did send it through USPS, so I did use this location right here, and that's the same location you see on my cover letter. All right, so now that I went over that, let's go back to the cover letter. After you put the address here, you want to make sure you put the date. Well, I put it here. You can pretty much put it anywhere, but I put it up here. Just use today's date. And then the cover letter right here, it is regarding adjustment of status. It is a family-based adjustment of status because I'm doing it through marriage. It is concurrent filing, meaning I'm going to send in all the forms together. Then I put in the U.S. citizen petitioner's full legal name right here. So that's actually my spouse's full legal name. On the second line, I put beneficiary, and that would be my name. Then I put in the beneficiary's A number, which is me. If you have DACA, you'll have those numbers on your EAD card, which is Employment Authorization Card. Then I put in the address. Obviously, it's the same one for my spouse and I because we live together. Next, I put, Dear USCIS officer, enclosed, please find concurrent filing of our marriage-based adjustment of status application for, then I put my full legal name here as the beneficiary, and then I put the full legal name of the U.S. citizen petitioner, which is my spouse. The following documents accompany and support this application. So now we're getting to the juicy stuff, everything that I mailed in with this cover letter. This is the order I organized my application. The first thing I put on top of my application was 3 personal checks. I used 3 personal checks for Form I-130, another one for Form I-485, and that does include the biometric fees. Then lastly, $260 for Form I-765. We were only paying 3 forms plus the biometric fees because I did not include the Form I-131, which is a travel document. It's optional, just how the I-765 is optional. But I just did not want to do it. I don't have a need to travel abroad, and it's optional. And I'm saving myself $630 because that I-130 form is not free. Now, passport style photos. You want to make sure you include 2 passport style photos of petitioner, which in my case is my spouse, and that is for Form I-130. Then I included 6 passport style photos of myself, which I'm the beneficiary, for Forms I-130, I-485, and I-765. I also included Form I-693, which is the medical examination, and that was inside a sealed envelope. You want to make sure it is not open because USCIS will give you an RFE if you submit an opened medical exam. On top of my application, I added the Form G1145, which is the e-notification for application petition acceptance. So this one pretty much gives you updates on your application status. So right after the G1145 e-notification form, I included the cover letter. Then right after the cover letter, I have all the forms I submitted for immigration and the supporting documents. The first form I included was the I-130 form and also added the I-130A form. Then I included the proof of petitioner's citizenship, which is the U.S. passport biographic page and the U.S. birth certificate of my spouse. These are not original. We made sure we made copies of the originals to submit. Then we have the proof of spousal relationship / bona fide marriage evidence. So right here, we have the marriage license certificate, birth certificates of our children, joint homebuyer statement, joint mortgage loan interest statements, joint bank account, checkings and savings. We have copy of joint tax returns, copy of the petitioner's and beneficiary's driver's license with shared address, joint vehicle ownership, petitioner's life insurance with spouse beneficiary, copy of joint bills, and photographs of our relationship. You don't have to have all of this bona fide evidence of marriage. This is to give you an idea of what you can submit. You can submit other things as well. If you have your spouse as a beneficiary on your 401k, medical insurance together, pretty much anything that you have together under each other's names, you can submit as evidence. So this is kind of what I submitted here. You're going to see the last evidence I submitted is the photographs of our relationship. And that was about, I think, 14 to 15 pages. I did like 4 to 6 pictures on each page from when we were boyfriend and girlfriend to the present time. On the second page of the cover letter, I have the I-48 application to register permanent resident or adjust status. Obviously, it was completed and it was signed. I included the supporting documents for that, which was a copy of beneficiary's foreign birth certificate with certified translation. And I do have a Mexican birth certificate. It is in Spanish. So I had to make sure that it was translated into English. I did this translation myself. I actually did it when I did Advance Parole. So I just changed the date and re-signed it. Also included a copy of beneficiary's passport biographic page. Again, beneficiary is myself, but I feel like I'm talking in third person, but I just wanted to clarify that. These 3 items here is showing proof of lawful entry. So when I did advance parole, they stamped my passport and also stamped my AP document. So I actually included a copy of that here. I also have Form I-94 arrival/departure record. And all of these again show my lawful entry to the United States. The last 2 things that I added here is the employment authorization document card and also copy of my DACA approval notice, which is the most current one. Down below, we have the I-864 affidavit of support. This is pretty much my spouse petitioner's affidavit of support. My spouse is sponsoring me, so this is the only form we had to submit. Other rules, other exceptions. So like, for example, if you have DACA and you've been working with work permit ever since DACA came out, you might have 40 social security credits or something like that. I just haven't done a lot of research on that just because it didn't apply to me. But if it does apply to you, I highly recommend you do research on that. I don't know if you submit this form along with another form. I'm not too sure. You can do research on that if you have those 40 social security credits. Or I think there's other exceptions, like for sure maybe your spouse doesn't make enough income to support you financially. You might need a joint sponsor. Again, you can do more research on that. But because my spouse petitioner is able to sponsor me or support me financially, so we only completed this form. With this form, we submitted a copy of my husband's proof of status, so his U.S. passport biographic page and his U.S. birth certificate, along with tax return, tax transcripts, and W-2s for the most recent 3 years. Then we submitted copies of pay stubs from the most recent 6 months. In my case, my husband's the one that is petitioning me and sponsoring me. So we included his information only for this I-864 affidavit of support. Last but not least, I included the I-765 application for employment authorization. With this form, I also submitted my passport biographic page, my passport page with entry stamp, Form I-94 arrival/departure record, Form I-512, which is the AP document with entry stamp, and then employment authorization document card with DACA approval notice. Again, I did not include the I-131 travel document form because I don't have a need to travel abroad while I'm waiting for my green card app. But you are more than welcome to apply for that. It is $630, so just keep that in mind. And then at the very bottom, you'll see I just thank them for their time and their attention. I put the full legal name of the petitioner, which is my husband, the date. I put my full legal name here as the beneficiary and also the date. Right, so we went over the cover letter. Now we're going to go over how I assemble my packet. And so it might look like a very small packet. I'm going to show you guys a screenshot of how my packet actually looked because it was like pretty thick. I think it was around 260 something pages. I don't remember, but I need to check again because I do have a digital copy. Anyway, so this looks pretty skinny. And it's basically just the application itself. So it's not as much, as you can see. That's it. But when you add all the evidence, it pretty much thickens up, depending on how much evidence you have, obviously. So first things first, we can follow what the cover letter says, which is exactly how I have this. The first thing you want to put on your application is the payment. So I personally use personal checks, but you can use cashier checks, you can use money orders, or you can use the form G1450, which is pretty much allows you to pay with a debit or credit card. I don't know, for some reason that G1450 form, it's been a little problematic and a lot of people don't use it because their banks usually mark it as fraud or scam or something. So I would just stay away from the G1450 form and just pay with either a personal cashier or money order. This is right on top of your application, so I'm going to move it aside. The next thing you have on your application is the passport photos. I included 6 passport photos for myself and then 2 for my spouse, which is the petitioner. Sorry, I'm not using actual passport photos, but let's just say we have a little stack of passport photos right here. Next thing I added was the sealed medical exam, which is that form I-693. It could be, you know, in a bigger envelope or an envelope like this. Mine was actually in an envelope exactly like this. Obviously, it was sealed. It had my name on the front. It had the medical examiner's name in the front, so the civil surgeons. It also was completely sealed with tape, and it had a stamp right in the middle. So it just depends on how the doctor wants to seal it. But again, it just needs to be sealed, or else USCIS will give you an RFE. Next form I included was the E-Notification of Application Petition Acceptance form. This form's pretty simple. It's just, you know, to notify you on any updates on your case. It's optional, but I highly, highly recommend it. This is the cover letter I went over just a few minutes ago. So it is 2 pages. And I know I didn't mention this earlier, but you want to make sure the petitioner signs and also the beneficiary. Then I have, I guess you can say, like a mini cover letter for the I-130 and the I-130A, and also the supporting documents. And I also put a little sticky note here. Please know I did not submit sticky notes. I think you can. I'm not really sure if they're supposed to be on the side or at the bottom. I just put them on the top just for me. Please know I did not submit sticky notes. Okay, then I have another little cover letter for Form I-4085 and its supporting documents. Then I have Form I-864 Affidavit of Support with supporting documents. And like stated on my cover letter, the last thing I have there is the Form I-765 along with the supporting documents. So that's pretty much how I assembled my application. And I did use binder clips. I did not use paper clips. So for the most part, I used binder clips. I did have a big packet. Again, I'm going to show you guys a screenshot of how it looked. So I did have to use several large binder clips because I didn't have like those big jumbo ones. So I pretty much use a binder clip per form and supporting document. This is pretty much how it looks. I know, again, I didn't show you guys like the checks that I use. Maybe I can do another video on how I wrote the checks maybe, but yeah, this is pretty much how it is. Again, this is a very small packet because once you add in all the evidence, supporting documents, it's gonna look pretty big depending on how much evidence you submit. I did submit a lot of bank statements, mortgage loan statements, things like that, which add up. So I pretty much show you guys my cover letter that I used and also how I assembled my packet. And if you have more questions on how to do this, you can always go to the USCIS.gov website. They actually tell you how they want your forms to be assembled. I hope this video was helpful. I'm sorry if I was a little all over the place. I tried my best. I have my kiddos right now in the living room with my husband, and I just want to go over there because it's almost their bedtime. And I'm also planning on making videos on how I completed each form that I submitted for my adjustment of status. So please keep an eye on those, and I hope you all have a great day or great night whenever you're watching this. And remember, no hay mal que por bien no venga, which pretty much means find the silver lining in every situation, especially the bad ones. And I'm wishing you guys the very best. Bye. I'm literally like shaking. I am so nervous. I'm about to send in my adjustment of status, aka my green card application. This is my whole packet. This is everything I'm sending. It's a lot, so I am going to use a box like this to send it. It's a medium-sized box. Let me go ahead and assemble it and put it in and send this out already. And then seal it up. So good. I already checked it like 1,000 times, so all I'm going to do is just double check that it's in the right order. Yes, cover letter, I-30, I-38, supporting document, I-485, Form 864, and Form I-765. So they're all there. So I pre-printed my address and also the USCIS address, so I don't have to write it. My hands are like really shaky. My cutting's all crooked, but here's my box. Whew. All right, let's do this.